Hello and welcome back to my channel for not a serious true crime one today, but my top 10 movies of 2020. Apologies about that ring light in the picture, but what can you do? I'm doing it standing up today, God only knows why. I just couldn't be bothered moving everything, Christmas, all that stuff, so here I am. You can have a look at my pops while I'm here. So 2020 has been more than a bit of a weird one, so this list may appear a bit odd, may not have the most Oscar-worthy performances or whatever on there, but these are my favourite movies of the year, my favourite 10 movies. I do have a few special mentions because I went through my Letterboxd account and I looked at everything that I had rated and I couldn't get down to 10, so let me give you a few special mentions before I go on to the 10. Now, it did come up that The Hunt was a 2020 movie. I thought The Hunt was 2019. Not entirely sure, won't spend ages talking about it just in case I'm completely wrong, but the horror movie The Hunt, if you haven't seen it, check it out. It's fantastic, awesome, and I think it was 2020, not entirely sure. Next special mention is Escape from Pretoria, which is a movie with Daniel Radcliffe, which tells the true story about an escape from a prison many moons ago, and Daniel Radcliffe plays the main actor here who attempts to make the escape. Don't want to give it away. This is incredible. It's one of those movies when you watch, you didn't know the true story, but you look into the true story afterwards to find out about the people and what happened. The complexities in this is awesome. If you enjoy things like Escape from Alcatraz, Shawshank Redemption, check this out. It's a much lesser known movie and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Escape from Pretoria. Another little lesser known one, but thankfully one that the horror community does seem to have picked up on, is one that was on Netflix earlier in the year called The Platform. This is very much one you're probably going to love or hate. A lot of people have been saying, what the hell have I just watched? What was that? But I think people that watch a lot of horror will really dig this movie, will really like what they see, will be used to the slightly different style of it. This story follows people being incarcerated in a prison which is vertical. Everything's set on separate floors and a table of food starts off at the top and slowly makes its way down, and the people at the lesser floors either have next to nothing to eat or nothing to eat, so die. And they are randomly then woken up on different floors. They could be on one of the higher floors and eat their fill, they could be on one of the lower floors and die. Two guys decide they want to try and just beat the system. They want to try and get everyone to work together. And this movie is just, I loved it. It was astounding. It was completely different to anything I'd ever seen. Really good horror movie, really good story, really good performances. So that's The Platform. Okay, I want to make a mention to one that a lot of people say is rubbish and I thoroughly enjoyed, which was Will Ferrell's Eurovision. Was it Saga of Fire and Ice? I loved it. It was stupid. The music was really just catchy. I really enjoyed the performances. It wasn't to be taken at all seriously, but it was a breath of fresh air, and in 2020, believe me, we need all the light-hearted breaths of fresh air we could get. I personally really enjoyed Eurovision with Will Ferrell, so it's made my special mentions list. I've just realised as I'm recording, the screen is going down and I keep going slanted. That's because where I've got my camera is only meant for phones. I've got my actual camera on it. It's too heavy. Forgive me, I'm sure you understand these things. So, on to the top 10, folks. So at number 10 is a movie called 18 Presents. Now this is a Spanish movie, I did talk about it earlier in the year. This is one about a young girl who sadly has lost her mother, and the mother has, knowing that she was going to pass, has prepared 18 presents for her daughter to open every year on her birthday. The daughter is very cynical, is very jaded, is not at all happy, hates the tradition, she just sees it as stupid. And this is about a coming of age awakening, not really coming of age because she's a bit older, she's approaching her 18th birthday in the main story of this movie. And this really has her discover who her mother was, why her mother did what she did with the presents, and it has her really get to know herself and her mother that little bit better. It's a very special movie. It made me cry numerous times. As I said, Spanish and their ability to put across sentimentality in a way that is not syrupy sweet is just something that we haven't quite grasped yet in the UK or in America as far as I'm concerned, but check out 18 Presents, it's a beautiful movie. At number 9 we've got Pixar's Onward, which I absolutely loved. I am a big fan of Pixar movies, I love all of them. Coco being my favourite, but Onward just love the story, love the characters, love the message, absolutely love the voices that played the characters in this. I cried. I cry at everything. I cried. Onward is just one that I know will be a classic in our household and will be watched over and over again. So number 9, Onward. So in a complete change of mood, number 8 is a movie called The Nightingale. This is a very harrowing movie about the time when we're back in Australia and there are Irish prisoners, and this Irish lady basically undergoes a very traumatic event, happens in her life, and she is absolutely intent to get revenge for what has happened, and she seeks down the individual, and this follows her and an Aboriginal gentleman who work together to try and get her where she needs to go. It's a very mistrusting relationship. There's a very racist undertone at that time, even from our hero, the girl, towards this gentleman, but as the story progresses and the relationship between the two develops into a real trust friendship, we begin to see all the sort of like facets of racism and misconception and pre-assumption just drop away. It's the performances are fantastic. It's very, very moving. It's very brutal in places. It just has to be seen to be believed. The Nightingale, I thoroughly recommend you check it out. It's a fantastic movie. At number 7 is a little Netflix movie by the name of #Alive. It is a zombie movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It has a very simplistic style. The zombies are very believable. The person in the movie you're following, you feel for, you want to survive. I'm not going to go into loads of detail about it, but if you like zombie movies, check out #Alive. If you enjoy movies like Train to Busan and things that haven't got that massive budget but are simplistic and effective, you should enjoy #Alive. So that's on Netflix. Check it out and let me know what you thought. At number 6 is a movie on, also I believe on Netflix, called Room. This is a movie about a young lady that's been kidnapped and she has had a child in complete captivity in one room. This child has grown up knowing nothing of the outside world, thinks the entire world is this room, knows nothing of the outside, has no windows, and this is a story about that child growing up and the attempts made by the mother and child to maybe get out there into the world and see if they can get beyond the room, or indeed if the child wants to get beyond the room. It's maybe a bit too much given what they've been through. So Room, incredible performances. Not something to watch if you want something really fast moving that's got loads of stuff happening and loads of action, but really heartfelt performances, really good storyline. I would thoroughly recommend it. At number 5 is The Devil All the Time. It's got an amazing cast. I'm not going to go into all the names because I will forget one and someone will say you left this person out. This is quite a slow movie, but if you stick with it, the payoff is well worth it. The performances are amazing. It's one of those movies, if there's a villain that you're meant to hate, you detest, you despise, you hate. You really feel for the protagonists in the movie. The storyline is something that is equally frustrating, and you can't believe what you're watching and you just don't want it to happen, and you have all these emotions when you're finished. The Devil All the Time is not one that I've heard a lot of people rant and rave about and talk about. I have heard a lot of people say it's too slow and it's dull. Absolutely not. Check it out, stick with it, and let me know if you have seen it and if you enjoyed it. At number 4 is a very recent horror movie, also on Netflix, called His House. This is one I spoke about quite recently. It's about a couple. They have immigrated to the UK and they have moved into a house, and they believe the house has got something within it that is not entirely nice, like haunted, spirits, voodoo. This doesn't just cover the whole freaky side of hauntings and scariness. This also covers issues found by people that are coming into the UK from other countries, people that want to work, people that are being treated disgustingly just because they have come from another country. The acting in this is outstanding. The actor and actress involved, I just commend. I thought they were both amazing. I thought this was a genuinely really creepy movie in places, but I loved how they tied it in with a really important true life subject that really needs to be addressed more in movies. It was a bit of a weird way to address it, I suppose, in the premise of a horror movie, but I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was refreshingly different, and I would thoroughly recommend His House. This camera's intent on just comment, it doesn't want to see my face anymore, does it? Number 3 is Ghosts of War. Again, on Netflix. Where do I watch most of my movies? Clearly Netflix. This was a complete game changer for me. I watched this movie which starts off a lot of guys in a war situation. The first half hour or so of the movie, I was feeling a bit, is anything going to happen? What's going on? And the more I watched and stuff happened, I don't want to tell you too much, I was blown away by the direction this took. I had no idea. All I will say is this is a horrific movie with a slight sci-fi twist. You're not going to expect it, you're not going to believe what you see, but it's not so unbelievable that it's ridiculous. I loved it, but when you think about what's happening and you actually let your brain comprehend what has gone on, it's really disturbing. But it was so refreshingly different and something I did not see coming that I had to stick it on my top 10 list. I really enjoyed it, so that's Ghosts of War on Netflix. At number 2 is one that's been quite divisive among a lot of people. It's called Possessor. This is just one I thought was very, very clever. Something that has been done before, but not in this way. This is a movie about a company that have developed a technology where they can take over a person's entire brain and body. So with a little implant that goes in their head, and they can use this person to carry out hits, to carry out assassinations on different people. Obviously then they're not going to get the blame. This poor sod that they have possessed is the one that's guilty. So this sort of covers one of those situations and stuff that invariably goes wrong within the hit. Really interesting. Loved the ending to this. Check it out. Fantastic performances. And finally, we've got to number 1. This is going to seem like a really odd choice, but the sentiment in this movie made me want to stick this at number 1, and it's Just Another Christmas. This is a movie that I watched on Netflix just before Christmas, and it's got a story that has Christmas Carol vibes about it. Everyone knows that A Christmas Carol is my favourite book of all time. I watch every single imagining of it that you can. Every film that has been made about A Christmas Carol, I will have seen it. Some I love, some I like. A few I'm not too keen on. The BBC adaptation with Guy Pearce, while the cinematography was amazing, the acting was fantastic, I didn't like what they did with the story. I didn't like the changes they made. And to me, the Scrooge in that story was unredeemable? Is that a word? The stuff that the guy did, that Scrooge, could not be redeemed. It wasn't just a bah humbug, miser, grumpy arse. He just was a nasty piece of work and he couldn't be redeemed. But anyway, this is a story about a man that wakes up every day and it is Christmas. But it's Christmas 2010, then it's Christmas 2011, then it's Christmas 2012. So this man sees maybe 20 years of his life in 20 days. And he hates Christmas. His birthday is on Christmas Day and he has always grown up hating Christmas. This movie shows all of the changes that happen in this man's life over all these years, but he only can see one day every year and all these changes are happening and he's like, how has this happened? What's going on with this? And he begins to see his life in a different way, and he can see things that perhaps happen in his life that if he was able to, he would like to be able to go back and change and prevent them from happening. So you get the gist. This movie is, to my knowledge, Spanish. I apologise if I'm wrong about that, it is subtitled, but this movie is beautiful. The performances, and it's funny. The guy that stars in this, he's funny. It's just a really heartfelt movie that I personally really enjoyed and really spoke to me. So I'm putting that as my favourite movie of 2020. I'm really sorry about this camera. Every time I look at it, it's doing this. So yeah, Just Another Christmas, one of my favourites of the year. So I wanted to actually mention 3 series that I watched this year, and I really wanted to recommend them to anyone that hadn't seen them. The first one is the series Des, which has got one of the old Doctor Who's. I keep calling him David Tennant, who plays Dennis Nielsen. Fantastically chilling performance, just spot on. I had to go back and watch Dennis Nielsen real life interviews after watching this series because he's got it so close. It is scary. Really fantastic performance. It's called Des and it was a BBC series. I don't know how you would get that in the US, but it's well worth checking out if you can get your hands on it. Next is one that I had no intention of watching. It was called The Queen's Gambit. Now, this sat at #1 on Netflix for so long, I'm thinking, what's going on? Obviously I'm missing something here, so I started to watch it. And this is a story about a young orphan that is taught to play chess by the caretaker at the children's home and who becomes a child prodigy. And this follows her life as back in, I think it's the 50s, it's very sexist. Women don't play chess. Women certainly don't enter competitions, and they most certainly don't beat men. This is a fantastic series, fantastic performances. The lead actress, whose name I've forgotten, is so beautiful. I just would thoroughly recommend. I know my dad watched this. He loves chess. He taught me to play chess. And my dad thoroughly enjoyed this as well. And me and my dad tend to like quite different things. So for him to really enjoy this and me to really enjoy it, and Darren watched it with me and he really enjoyed it. So The Queen's Gambit, if you haven't seen it or if you think it's not my cup of tea, check it out, it's well worth it. Really good performances in there. And lastly, one I watched, I think on the back of Austin Burke's recommendation. There's a recommendation for you. If you're not subscribed to a guy's channel called Austin Burke, he does reviews, or I don't know how the guy does it, he watches everything on Netflix and Amazon Prime, and God only knows where else he gets screeners. He goes to movie festivals and he sees everything, and his viewpoint, his taste in movies is just spot on. He's really, really good at what he reviews, and generally he gives you a fantastic idea without spoiling the movies. He never spoils them. He's also got an account on Letterboxd where he does written reviews, which are just, you read it and you think, which I could write like that. So Austin Burke, check him out. If I remember, I will link his channel in the description. So he recommended a series called Alice in Borderlands, or is it Borderland? I can't remember. This is a Japanese series and it is amazing. It is so good. If you like things like Battle Royale, you are gonna love this. We're watching one at the minute called Sweet Home and I'm liking it, but it's not a touch on Alice in Borderland. I've tried to fix my camera again and I can see it moving in front of my eyes. I'm gonna start going like this. So Alice in Borderland is a story about a group of young people that really have lost their way in life. They're dossers, to be quite honest. They're lazy, they sit in their arse. And all of a sudden, the entirety of the city disappears and they are there on their own. And they end up being pulled into this game, like a technological type of game where they have to pass the game to survive. And this entire movie follows these individuals playing all these different games, and if they don't win the game, they die. In some games, there's maybe 20 competitors and only one person can survive. And each time they win a game, they get a playing card. So it's when they get all the cards, do they get to escape? Do they get to go back to reality? Where is reality? What's happened to reality? But this is amazing. Performances, fantastic. Special effects, fantastic. Storyline, fantastic. Me and Darren were gripped start to finish. So Alice in Borderland on Netflix. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. So thank you for watching. That's what I enjoyed this year in 2020. I will be doing a what I watched in December for you very soon. And I will do a roundup of the year, just generally a personal roundup of 2020, which will be on my Kit and Caboodle channel. If you want to subscribe, I will link it in the comments. I would be much obliged. Basically, I vlog on that one. It's me and my family. It's personal stuff. It's all sorts of stuff that isn't movies or crime. Goes on my other channel. So if you fancy a little look, I will link it below in the comments. So all that's left to do is wish everyone a good new year. Hopefully a better 2021 than we've had 2020. Fingers crossed. And thank you to everyone that's watched, commented, liked. I love you all. Over and out from Lisa Lives.